the race course. He even had us calculate the estimated time to finish of the first boat. And they could move the marks to get the first boat to finish when they wanted it for the TV and those commercial breaks and all that. This is the electronic umpiring. They also had on the water umpiring, and that was a challenge because these boats go 40 to 50 knots. And so the one concept was they would use these high-powered jet skis like in the lower left, and those jet skis will go 80, 85 knots. Then they discovered that the trained umpires couldn't drive those jet skis. So they hired some Navy SEALs to teach the umpires how to drive the jet skis. Then they discovered it was easier to teach the SEALs how to umpire. So that's actually a Navy SEAL. And then at the end of the day, it turned out it was easier to just use speedboats. So they used speedboats like in the lower right. But most of the umpiring was done in the booth. And what we did is we made a special viewer for the umpires because they didn't want it to look pretty. They just wanted a bird's eye view of the race course without any of the distraction. And they wanted a bird's eye view that was completely virtual. They didn't care about any of the video because they wanted to be able to see the facts. Was there an overlap or not? This is what the umpires looked at. So in this case, when Oracle 5 gets to the mark circle, unless Oracle 4 has an overlap, Oracle 4 is not entitled to go around the mark inside of Oracle 5. Well, they're sticking it in there, so they're going to get a penalty. These things are the on-the-water umpires. So the booth umpires can both see the boats, they can see the marks, they can see the zones. They can even tell when the boats get to zone entry because things change color. They can see where the overlaps are, and then they're on intercom to the on-the-water umpires so that they can see what the on-the-water umpires are likely to be able to see. And so they're able to make those calls, and then they can impose penalties. And then when a penalty is imposed, the colored light comes on in the boat, and then the boat that's penalized has to fall behind until its light turns off. This is in a situation where the fleet of boats have to go around this mark, and they have to leave it to port, so they have to go through here. This boundary is not just a race course boundary, but it's also a brick wall. So they put the marks close to shore because there's about 50,000 fans in here, and they thought it would be better for spectating to have the mark close to shore, but they had no idea that all the boats would get there at the same time. So the reason I show this isn't, this is actually terrible for sport, but the reason I show it is it's an indication of how accurate the tracking is. The tracking really was extraordinary. And you see that these boats are never overlapping one another, and every place where it shows a collision, there was in fact a collision. And so it's this kind of event that caused the umpires and the athletes to realize that the system worked extraordinarily well. But again, that's the sort of thing that can go wrong in sport when you let the commercial needs outweigh the competitive needs. This is something we did.